the rescue and the fire. The battlefield was burning. Dark smoke filled the sky. Loud explosions shook the ground. Human soldiers ran through the ruins of an alien city, shouting orders, trying to stay alive. The war between Earth and the Elari Empire had reached its worst stage. Sergeant Leo Grant ran alone through the wreckage. He had lost contact with his squad. His armor was damaged, and his energy rifle had only a few shots left. But Leo didn't stop. He had trained for war. He had seen death before. Still, something about this place felt different. He turned a corner and froze. There, under a broken pillar, lay someone. An alien woman, injured and unconscious. Her skin was pale silver, and her armor was marked with royal symbols. A sharp blade had pierced her leg, and blood shimmered like liquid crystal around her. Leo raised his gun, unsure, but then she opened her eyes. They glowed a deep violet full of pain and fear. "Help," she whispered. Her voice was weak, shaking. "Please, don't leave me." Leo looked around. Enemy drones were closing in. His comlink crackled, but still no signal from command. He knew what he had to do. "Hang on," he said. "I've got you." He dropped his weapon and rushed to her side. Carefully, he lifted the stone off her leg. She screamed, but didn't fight him. Leo pulled a field patch from his gear and wrapped it around her wound. "You're royalty, aren't you?" he asked, trying to distract her from the pain. She nodded slowly. "Princess Zari, of House Urine." Leo looked at her in shock. A real alien princess. If he left her here, she'd die. If he saved her, the Elari might owe him a huge favor. But mostly he just couldn't let her die, not like this. "Okay, princess," he said. "Time to go." He lifted her into his arms. Her armor was heavier than he expected, but he kept moving. Behind him, the ruins exploded again. Enemy bots started scanning the area. Leo ran. He ducked through rubble, dodged fire, and took shortcuts through destroyed buildings. Zari coughed and groaned in pain, but held on. Her arm wrapped around his shoulder, trusting him completely. A sharp sound rang out. Laser fire. A drone spotted them. Leo turned and fired. 1 shot. 2. He took out the drone, but another hit his shoulder. His armor sparked and he almost fell. But he gritted his teeth and kept going. He finally reached a small human outpost hidden in the wreckage. "Open the gate!" he shouted. The doors slid open just enough for him to rush in. Medics ran forward to help. Leo collapsed, still holding Zari in his arms. "She's royalty," he whispered. "Don't let her die." Then everything went dark. Leo woke up slowly. The pain in his shoulder was gone. The air smelled strange, clean but sharp. He tried to sit up, but something was wrong. He wasn't in a human hospital. The ceiling above him was made of glass and metal in strange alien shapes. Soft music played in the background. A bright light circled above, scanning him gently. He sat up fast. His armor was gone. His clothes were replaced with a simple robe. A glowing mark on his chest blinked softly. A door slid open. Princess Zari entered the room. She was walking now, her leg healed. She wore royal robes of deep purple and silver. Her eyes met his, calm but serious. "You're awake," she said. Leo nodded. "Where am I?" "You are in my palace. I brought you here." He blinked. "Why?" Zari stepped closer and pointed at the mark on his chest. "Because you saved me, and now we are bound." Leo frowned. "What do you mean?" Zari looked at him with something between respect and sorrow. "In my culture, saving the life of royal blood means a life debt, a sacred bond. We are linked now, soldier. Your life is mine, and mine is yours." Leo stared at her, stunned. "Wait, what?" "It is ancient law," she said, "and it cannot be broken." Before Leo could respond, another figure entered the room. A tall alien in black armor. His face was cold, eyes narrow. "You brought a human into our heart," he said. To Zari, "You have no idea what you've done." Leo sat still. Something told him this was only the beginning. The life debt, the palace was too quiet. Leo stood on a high balcony, staring at a strange alien sky. 2 moons hung low, glowing, red and silver. He could see flying creatures in the distance like dragons made of light. The city below him sparkled, peaceful, beautiful, but he didn't feel safe. He felt like a soldier behind enemy lines. His mind raced. A few hours ago, he was in a war zone, fighting to survive. Now he was in the royal palace of an alien race. He had saved their princess, almost died doing it. And now they were calling him something dangerous. Life bonded. He didn't even know what that meant. The doors behind him opened with a soft hiss. Princess Zari walked in, wearing a long, white robe with gold symbols. She didn't look like a warrior anymore. She looked like someone ready for a ceremony or a funeral. Leo didn't turn around. "You still haven't told me everything." Zari stood beside him, looking at the same sky. Her voice was calm, but sad. "I know, and I'm sorry. But you need to understand what happened wasn't a choice, it's law. It's older than this palace, older than my bloodline." "Tell me now," he said, turning to face her. "What did you do to me?" She looked him in the eyes. "When you saved me, when you carried me through fire and death, I marked you with the seal of the Cathalar." Leo remembered the moment. Her touch. The glowing mark on his chest. "It means our lives are joined," she said. "What happens to one affects the other." Leo took a step back. "You're saying, if you die, you die," she said softly. "And if you die, I die too." He shook his head. "Why would anyone do that?" "Because to my people life is sacred," Zari explained. "To take a life is a crime. To save one, especially royal blood, is the highest honor. But it must be balanced. We don't believe in free debts. The bond ensures the universe stays equal." Leo looked at the glowing mark on his chest. It pulsed once as if it heard her words. "So now what?" he asked. "I stay here forever? Be your bodyguard?" Zari hesitated. "No, it's more than that." "Then what?" he snapped. She lowered her eyes. "The bond is also used in royal marriage." Leo went completely still. "What?" Zari looked away. "Some say the bond is a sign from the stars, that the one who saves royal blood is destined to join it. Some nobles already believe we are promised." Leo backed up. "I didn't sign up for this." Before Zari could answer, the doors burst open. 3 alien guards rushed in, weapons raised. Behind them came an elder, tall, with 4 arms, his face covered in silver tattoos. "You dare bring a human here?" the elder shouted. "Into the sacred hall, into your bloodline?" Zari stepped in front of Leo. "He saved me. I owe him my life." "Then you should have died," the elder growled. "You've cursed us with this, outsider." Leo stepped forward. "I didn't ask for this. I just did what was right." The elder turned his burning eyes on Leo. "Your kind destroyed our colonies, poisoned our lands, and now you think saving one royal makes you part of us?" "I didn't do it for reward," Leo said. "I did it because she was dying and I couldn't walk away." The room went silent. Then the elder spoke again, quietly but coldly. "If he truly carries the Cathalar mark, then he must be tested, judged by the rights of balance." Zari's face paled. "No, not the trial." Leo frowned. "What trial?" The elder smiled. "He will face the gauntlet of judgment, mind, body, and soul. If he passes, the bond stays. If he fails, the bond is broken, and both of you die." Leo looked at Zari. "Is this true?" She nodded, eyes full of fear. "No one has survived the gauntlet in 100 years. The elder turned and walked away. The trial begins at dawn. Later that night, Leo sat alone in his guest chamber. The lights were dim. The room was beautiful, made of crystal and stone. But he couldn't sleep. His heart was racing. He touched the mark on his chest. It was glowing brighter now. Suddenly the lights flickered. A shadow moved in the corner. Leo stood quickly, ready for a fight. But it wasn't an attacker. It was Zari. She walked to him silently and held something out. A small dagger. "Take it," she said. "What is it?" "If the trial becomes too much, if the pain is too great, this is your way out." Leo stared at her, then pushed the dagger away. "I didn't save you to die tomorrow. I'm not running from this." Zari's eyes shimmered. "Then you're braver than anyone I've ever known." She stepped closer. "But you need to know something." "What?" "The trial isn't just a test someone wants you to fail. Badly." Leo frowned. "Who?" Zari whispered. "My cousin, Prince Varen. If you die, he becomes the heir." Leo looked out at the night again. This wasn't just about war anymore. This was politics. This was betrayal. And tomorrow, it would be survival. Royal enemy's human heart. The trial ground was quiet. Too quiet. Leo stood in the center of a wide, circular arena, surrounded by tall, alien pillars made of black stone. Strange symbols glowed on the walls. The sky above was still dark, just before dawn. Cold air brushed against his face, but sweat already dripped from his neck. He wasn't alone. Around him, hundreds of alien nobles, guards, and citizens had gathered, standing on stone platforms high above the ground. All eyes were on him. None of them cheered. None of them smiled. They watched like hungry wolves. At the highest platform sat Princess Zari, her face unreadable. Beside her stood her cousin, Prince Varen. He wore royal armor, shining red with sharp edges. His face showed no fear. Only one emotion: hatred. A deep gong echoed. The trial had begun. A tall alien priest stepped forward. His forearms held a scroll made of light. 3 trials, he announced. Strength, mind, soul. Pass them, and the bond shall be honored. Fail, and the bond will be broken. The human will die, and so shall the princess. Leo didn't blink. He knew what was at stake. He wasn't just fighting for survival. He was fighting for Zari's life. And maybe more than that. Maybe something had already started between them. First trial. Strength metal gates opened with a screech. From the shadows came a beast, taller than a tank, with 6 legs, glowing eyes, and skin like molten rock. The crowd gasped. Even Zari stood up in shock. "That's not fair," she whispered. "That's a war beast." Leo didn't move. He picked up a blunt spear they had left for him, old and cracked. The beast roared and charged. Leo didn't fight with rage. He fought with training. He dodged, rolled, waited. He used the arena's pillars to confuse the creature, sliding under its legs, stabbing at joints, aiming for weak spots. It wasn't easy. He was cut, bleeding. But finally, with one well-placed strike to the beast's soft neck, he brought it down. The crowd fell silent. Leo stood there panting, holding the spear tight. The priest nodded once. Trial of strength. Passed. Second trial. Mind. The arena changed. Walls rose from the floor, forming a maze. Gas filled the space and strange lights flickered in the air. Leo's head spun. He saw images, memories, fears, lies. He saw his old commander blaming him for the deaths of his squad. He saw Earth cities burning under alien ships. He saw Zari turning her back on him. It wasn't real, but it felt real. A voice echoed in his mind. "You are nothing, a toy in alien games. Let go. Give up." Leo fell to his knees. He was shaking. But then he remembered Zari's eyes. That night she brought him the dagger. The way she looked at him, not as a tool, not as a soldier, but as someone she trusted. He stood up. "I'm not yours," he said to the voice. "Not today." The illusions faded. The gas cleared. He walked out of the maze. Trial of mind. Passed. Third trial. Soul. Now the arena was empty again. No beasts, no tricks. Just a table with 2 chairs. One was already filled. Prince Varen. You made it further than I thought, the prince said, smiling without warmth. Leo said nothing. Varen placed a small box on the table. The final trial is truth. A question. Answer wrong, and your soul fails. Answer right. Well, we'll see. He opened the box. Inside were 2 rings, made of black crystal. Tell me, human, Varen asked, leaning forward. If she was not a princess, if there was no law binding you, would you still care for her? Leo hesitated. This wasn't a trap of logic. This was a trap of the heart. He thought of that moment in the ruins, when he chose to carry her instead of saving himself. He didn't know who she was then. He only knew she needed help. He looked the prince in the eyes. Yes, he said, I would. The prince smiled again, but this time it looked like defeat. Then you've won, he said quietly, but you've also made enemies. After the trial, the crowd cheered for the first time. Some clapped out of respect. Others looked away, bitter. Jari rushed to Leo as he collapsed. She caught him before he hit the ground. You did it, she said, tears in her voice. Was there ever any doubt? He whispered. She smiled, but behind her, Leo saw Varen walking away, his face full of rage. That night in her private chamber, Jari stood before her father, the emperor. He was old and tired, but wise. The bond has passed, Jari said. The emperor nodded. And the court will demand the next step. She looked down. Marriage? Or exile, he said. For both of you. Meanwhile, a secret chamber deep in the palace. Varen stood before a hooded figure. He won the trial, the figure said. He is protected now. Varen's eyes burned. Trials can be survived, accidents cannot. The figure smiled. Then we begin phase 2. The truth beneath the throne. The palace walls were not as solid as they seemed. Under the surface of polished stone and golden banners, something old and dark was sleeping, something even the royal family had tried to forget. And now, it was waking. 2 nights after the trial, Leo couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard the crowd cheering, saw Prince Varen's fake smile, and felt the burn of the trials in his bones. But what haunted him more than anything was the feeling that this wasn't over. He stood by the window in his guest room, staring into the night sky. Twin moons glowed above the alien city. He saw flying patrol ships, blinking lights, towers in the distance. Beautiful, but cold. The door behind him slid open. It was Jari. She wore a dark cloak and her voice was low. Come with me, she whispered. No guards, no questions. Leo nodded without asking why. He could see it in her eyes. Fear mixed with purpose. Something was wrong. And it wasn't about politics anymore. The hidden path Jari led Leo through the palace's quiet halls, downstairs not found on any map. Behind a statue of an old war hero, she pressed her hand to a hidden panel. A door slid open into darkness. They stepped inside. The tunnel was old. The walls were cracked. The symbols here weren't glowing. They were carved deep into the stone, angry, desperate. Ancient writing, untouched for centuries. What is this place? Leo asked. Jari spoke quietly. The original palace, before the empire, before the bloodline. They moved deeper. Jari lit a torch. Soft red light filled the space and the air smelled of dust and secrets. She stopped in front of a massive door. This is what they never wanted you to see, she said. Leo touched the surface. It was cold, heavy, but it opened with ease. The forbidden room. Inside the chamber were walls filled with writings, paintings, and old relics. Leo's eyes widened. Humans, drawings of humans, fighting beside Alari warriors, shaking hands with ancient alien kings, saving alien children. One painting showed a human and an Elari woman standing together, with the same life bond mark glowing between them. "What is this?" he whispered. "History," Zari said. "The truth." She walked to a broken tablet and placed her hand on it. "My ancestors erased this story. They told the people that our empire was built alone, that humans were savages, but it's a lie." Leo stared at the wall. "You're saying humans helped build your empire?" "More than that," she said. "The first life bond was between a human and an Elari queen. It was a symbol of unity, but over time, power twisted the truth. The bond became something else, something dangerous." Leo was silent for a long moment. "Why are you showing me this now?" Zari looked into his eyes. "Because if the council finds out, they will destroy this room, and you. They fear the truth. And now that you carry the bond, you are living proof that the old ways were real." "And Prince Varen?" Leo asked. "He wants the throne," she said. "And if the truth helps you, he'll bury it with your body." The betrayal begins back in the royal hall. Varen stood with the emperor. "The human is not just a soldier," Varen said. "He's a threat to the empire's very identity." The emperor said nothing. "He has stirred the old myths," Varen continued, "and if people believe them again, your rule will not survive." The emperor's voice was quiet. "What would you have me do?" Varen smiled slowly. "Send him to negotiate with the rebels in the borderlands. No escort, no backup, just him. If he is truly a hero, let him prove it." Later, that night, Zari walked with Leo back through the hidden halls. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the palace. The walls shook, dust fell from the ceiling. Guards shouted, sirens screamed. They rushed into the main hall just in time to see fire rising from the west tower. Leo's room. Someone had tried to kill him. A message was burned into the floor outside. "The throne belongs to pure blood." Zari looked at Leo. "We have to leave." "Why?" he asked. "Because next time they won't miss." Escape plan later in a quiet ship hangar, Zari revealed a plan. "We'll go to the outer cities. The truth is still alive there. There are people who believe in unity, people who might protect us." Leo shook his head. "You'll lose your throne." She met his eyes. "Better to lose the throne than to lose you." He paused, then nodded. But before they could board the ship, a voice echoed behind them. "Going somewhere, cousin." Prince Varen stood at the hangar door, surrounded by black armored guards. He raised his hand. "Kill the human. Bring her back alive." Blood trials and broken oaths. The hangar exploded into chaos. Leo pushed Zari behind a crate just as plasma fire lit up the air. Varen's soldiers moved like shadows, silent and trained, their armor absorbing the blast of the engines and the sparks flying everywhere. Leo grabbed a fallen guard's weapon and fired back. 1 shot, 2 shots. He didn't miss. His military instincts kicked in, but this wasn't a war zone with clear enemies. This was a palace, and the enemy was family. "Backer, can't win this fight here," he shouted to Zari. "We need to run now." Zari nodded, her eyes burning with fury and fear. She touched her wristband and activated a hidden exit path, one only known to the royal bloodline. A panel opened behind the ship, leading into an old tunnel forgotten by most. They dove in. The door slammed shut behind them. The dark passage, the tunnel was cold and narrow, full of ancient markings and cobwebs. Zari's torch flickered as they moved. The air felt heavy, almost like it didn't want them there. "Varen tried to kill you," she said quietly. "Yeah," Leo replied, and that wasn't a warning shot. They stopped at a split in the tunnel. "We go left," Zari said. "It leads to the edge of the capital." Leo turned to her. "Why do I feel like this is only the beginning?" Zari didn't answer. Because she already knew. It was Council of Blood back in the throne hall. Prince Varen stood before the Council of 9, the secret rulers behind the throne. "He has broken tradition," Varen said. He pollutes royal blood with a barbarian bond. The eldest counselor spoke with a voice like stone. The trials were passed. The bond is law. Varen's smile twisted. Then change the law. Another counselor leaned forward. Careful, Prince. Your ambition is showing. Varen raised a glowing vial. If the people see a human rise above our own blood, they will question everything. Do you want rebellion? Because this is how rebellion begins. The council was silent. Then the eldest spoke again. Bring them back. Alive if possible. Dead if necessary. Safe House City, the edge of the empire. Leo and Jari reached the outer city after days of hiding, dodging patrols, and crossing dangerous ground. This city wasn't like the shining palace or the perfect towers of the capital. It was older, louder, and full of broken things, and broken people. Here, Jari wore a cloak to hide her royal face. No one bowed, no one cheered. But in quiet corners, some whispered her name with hope. They stayed in an underground safe house run by a rebel group, people who still believed in the forgotten alliance between humans and Ailari. There, Leo met an old alien named Kalen, a historian and former royal advisor turned exile. The bond you carry, Kalen said, examining the mark on Leo's chest, is not just old, it is sacred. It was never meant to control. It was meant to unite. So why are they trying to kill us? Leo asked. Kalen's eyes darkened. Because the truth is dangerous. Because you are not just bonded. You are the key to ending the royal bloodline's grip on power. The trial of blood news reached the city. The council had declared Leo an enemy of the empire and Jari a traitor. They demanded one final trial, to prove Leo's loyalty and worth. But this time, it was not in an arena. It would be done in front of the people, under the eye of the Empire's bloodstone, an ancient relic that exposed all lies. A public test, a forced confession, a trap. Jari begged him not to go. They want to humiliate you, she said. They want the people to see you broken. Leo looked at her calm. And if I don't go, they call me a coward. They say you chose a weak protector. We lose everything. She looked at him with fire in her eyes. Then we fight together. Back to the capital, under secret escort by rebels and old allies, Leo and Jari returned in disguise. The city was tense. Whispers filled the streets. Some supported the council. Others now wore strange markings on their clothing, a glowing version of the life bond symbol. Hope was spreading, and so was fear. In the central plaza, a stage was built. Thousands gathered. The bloodstone stood in the center, pulsing red. The council sat above, Varen at the center, wearing the Emperor's colors. The Emperor himself was missing. The broken oath Varen stood first. You are not one of us, he said to Leo. You do not understand our ways. Do you deny that you are unworthy of the bond? The bloodstone glowed faintly. No reaction. Leo stepped forward. I never asked for the bond, he said, but I honored it. I passed your trials. I bled for your people, and I saved your princess twice. The crowd murmured. Do you love her? Varen asked. Leo didn't look at the bloodstone. He looked at Jari. Yes, he said. The bloodstone glowed bright blue, a sign of truth. Varen's smile faded. Then one more trial, he said. By royal law, the trial of blood must be finished. Duel me, to the death. Gasps filled the plaza. Jari stepped forward. No. But Leo held up a hand. I accept. The princess who chose a human. The wind in the royal plaza was still. Thousands stood in silence as the two figures stepped onto the sacred dueling ground. One wore ceremonial red armor, glowing with energy. The other wore no crown, no title, just the battle-worn gear of a human soldier, Prince Varen, Sergeant Leo Grant. Between them, the ancient bloodstone pulsed a deep violet, the color of fate. The final duel begins. This is not just about honor, Varen said. drawing a long plasma blade. This is about blood, and your kind has none of ours. Leo said nothing. He rolled his shoulders, focused, calm. He had no armor like Varen, no shield, no special weapon, just a forged blade given to him by rebels. But he had something Varen didn't, a reason to fight. The gong sounded. Varen struck first, fast, furious, a blur of red energy. The blade sizzled through the air, nearly catching Leo's side. Leo ducked, rolled, and countered. The sound of clashing metal echoed across the plaza. Whispers of change in the crowd. People watched not with hatred, but confusion. For years they had been told humans were brutes, destroyers. Yet here was one standing toe-to-toe with their strongest prince, not for conquest, but for the life of their princess. In the shadows, the rebel group moved quietly through the city, spreading images, recordings, and whispers of ancient truths. The truth Zari and Leo had uncovered was now being shared, the forgotten alliance between humans and Elari, and how the royal family erased it. Some guards began to hesitate. Some citizens began to chant. A dangerous turn Varen slashed across Leo's chest. Sparks flew. Leo stumbled, blood dripping. You fight well, Varen sneered. But in the end, you're still human. Leo spit blood and smiled. Yeah, that's why I'm still standing. He charged. This time Leo didn't dodge. He closed the distance, got inside Varen's guard, and slammed the hilt of his sword into the prince's face. Varen reeled back. Leo pressed forward faster than anyone expected. He struck hard, driving the prince to the ground. The crowd gasped, but Varen had one more move. From his wrist he activated a hidden blade. He lunged, not at Leo, but at Zari. The choice time slowed. Leo moved instinctively. He threw himself between Zari and the blade. It pierced his side. Gasps and screams rose across the plaza. Guards rushed forward. Chaos broke loose. Leo dropped to his knees, blood soaking his shirt. But he was still alive. Varen roared in rage, charging for a final blow. But before he could strike, Zari stepped in front of Leo, her hand raised. A beam of pure energy shot from her palm, hitting Varen in the chest and blasting him backward. He crashed to the ground unconscious. The royal law-broken guards surrounded the duel circle. Council members stood, shocked. Shari turned to the crowd. Her voice was clear and powerful. Enough. Silence fell. You called this trial to test him, she said. He passed. You wanted blood, you got it, but now you will listen. She reached down and helped Leo to his feet. I am Princess Zari of House Yurine, heir to this throne. And by the law of blood choice, I choose him. The council gasped. One elder stood. You would break thousands of years of tradition. For this outsider. Zari nodded. No, I'm not breaking tradition, I'm restoring it. She pointed to the holograms now showing across the plaza. Images of the ancient bond, of human Elari alliances, of the lies the Empire had buried. The people saw it, and they believed her. The start of revolution all across the capital. Citizens began removing their royal pins, replacing them with new ones, the life bond mark, glowing blue. The soldiers, confused and shaken, began standing down. The crowd chanted, not for the crown, but for truth. The emperor finally appeared, silent. At first he looked at his daughter, then at the people, then at the fallen prince. So, he said quietly, the future has arrived. He stepped down from the throne. Later. That night, in a quiet balcony high above the city, Leo sat wrapped in bandages. Zari sat beside him, holding his hand. You could have died, she whispered. I still might, he joked. But at least I'd do it with a view. She smiled, but tears glimmered in her eyes. This isn't over, she said. There are still loyalists. There will still be war. Leo nodded. Then we fight it together. Zari rested her head on his shoulder. You're not just my protector anymore. No, he said softly. And you're not just my princess. The final choice, the city no longer slept. Smoke rose in the distance. Fires burned in the outer sectors. The empire was breaking and being reborn at the same time. Inside the royal command hall, alarms echoed, screens flashed with warnings, and generals argued over maps. Loyalists were regrouping. A small army still supported Prince Varen, even though he lay in a coma. Several provinces had declared independence overnight. But something else was coming. Something bigger. Something from the stars. The arrival of a massive object broke through orbit, visible even to the naked eye from the palace windows. A human warship. Earth Command's flagship, ESS Titanus. It didn't come quietly. It arrived with full shields up, weapon systems active, and a message that played on every channel. This is General Helena Ward of Earth Defense. We are here to retrieve Sergeant Leo Grant. This is not a negotiation. The room fell silent. Leo stood with Jari at the center of the command floor. His wounds were still healing, but his posture was straight. Unshaken, Jari looked at him. They want you back. More like they want to control what happens next, he said. The meeting and emergency diplomatic chamber was prepared. Only 5 people were allowed inside. Princess Zari Leo Grant, General Helena Ward Alari High Priest of Lore, and an artificial mediator drone to keep the peace. The mood was tense. Helena Ward was tall, sharp-eyed, and carried the weight of Earth's entire political machine on her back. You were supposed to be dead, soldier, she said calmly. Leo smiled, sorry to disappoint. She dropped the formal tone. You've created a galactic incident, Leo. The bond, the rebellion, the throne. This is bigger than anything we were prepared for. Zari interrupted, firm and clear. You mean it's bigger than what you could control? The priest nodded in agreement. The empire was built on control. Now it must be rebuilt on truth. Helena's voice softened, just a little. This isn't personal, but the bond between you two, it could spark a war between Earth and the Aelari if it's seen as political manipulation. We need a peaceful resolution. Leo frowned. What are you saying? She looked him straight in the eyes. We're offering you full pardon, hero status, if you return to Earth. Alone. The heaviest decision. The room went quiet. Shari's hand slowly reached for Leo's. Their bond, the mark on his chest, glowed faintly, a reminder of the life they now shared. If you leave, she said softly, the bond will fade. Not at once, but piece by piece, and I'll lose you. Leo looked down, his heart pounded. Helena added, if you stay, Leo, we can't protect you. Earth will cut you off. You'll be alone here, surrounded by political enemies. Not alone, Zari whispered. The mediator drone lit up. Final decision must be made. One path only. Leo closed his eyes. He saw it all. The day he carried her from the fire, the trial arena, the rebel city, her smile under the stars, the blade she gave him when he had no hope. Then he opened his eyes. I choose her, he said. I choose this world, this future, not because it's safe, but because it's right. The fallout Helena said nothing for a long moment. Then she sighed. You always were too stubborn. She stood. Earth will recognize the bond, unofficially. We'll quietly withdraw. But if this ends in war, it's on you. Leo nodded. Understood. She turned to Zari. You'd better make it worth it, princess. Zari raised her chin. I intend to. 1 month later, a new empire, the capital, had changed. Flags no longer showed a single bloodline. They showed 2 hands joined beneath twin moons. One human. One Aelari Zari was crowned not as empress but as high guardian of unity, the first ruler chosen by vote, not blood. Leo stood beside her, not as a prince, but as her equal. Some still hated him. Some still feared change, but many more followed them. The bond eternal late at night on the same balcony where he once stood alone, Leo looked up at the stars. Jari joined him, wrapping a soft shawl over his shoulders. "Do you regret it?" she asked. He shook his head. "No, I'd do it again." Every time she leaned against him. "Then we'll face what comes. Together." The mark on their chests glowed brighter than ever before, and in the sky above, 2 stars blinked side by side.